Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us again for another Conversations with Christopher. Today, we'd like to welcome for a brief chat with Ben Meyer of Oasis Senior Advisors. How are you doing there, Ben?
Doing good, doing good. I appreciate having me on.
Good. So just to give everybody a little background on Ben. So Ben is the owner of Oasis Senior Advisors for Southwestern PA. He's been passionate about helping seniors since he was a child, growing up with his grandparents and listening to all their stories that they had to tell. And he found that becoming a senior advisor was an easy decision. So his goal is to help take the stress off of families who are trying to find a place for their loved ones to live. And it's a very stressful time for people. So having somebody like Ben in your corner is definitely helpful. So again, Ben, thanks for being here. Anything in your bio that you like to sort of highlight for people?
Um, just a little bit about myself. I am a certified senior advisor. So what that means is that I've taken certain certifications and stay up to date on current market trends and education and understanding of the industry so that we're best able to help our clients out with the most updated information, as well as all the new stuff and new developments as things are being talked to about dementia and Alzheimer's and those types of things that are new developments all the time on the Alzheimer's front. So, and I am also a certified dementia practitioner, so helping people understand dementia and communicating with loved ones with dementia as well.
Yeah, that's a major topic for people, I know. Uh, so I saw I saw the designation. I was wondering what that was. So I'm glad you told us. So I was
Yeah,
familiar with the CSA, but not the other one. So that's amazing.
yeah.
Uh, so what does Oasis do? What are your offerings
Yeah,
when somebody comes to talk to you?
absolutely. Yeah. So we are a completely free service for seniors and families when it comes time for either themselves or their loved ones to transition into senior living. So whether that's assisted living or independent living, or like we just talked about with dementia, sometimes loved one needs a secured memory environment that protects them from wandering outside and keeping them in a safe environment by also helping them with their dementia and their day-to-day activities. So we have agreements and contracts in place with all of the communities in Pittsburgh, the assisted livings, the independent livings, all the major ones to the really tiny ones. And the communities are the ones that provide the resources for our business. So that's how we're able to stay free to the seniors and families.
Nice. So when somebody comes to you, what's the process? What should they expect the it to feel like, look like when they're going through this? How do we figure out where to put our loved one?
Yeah, so when we first have an initial call with a loved one talking about either their parents or a family member, the first call can usually take around 30 to 45 minutes because it is an all-encompassing phone call, and we're trying to gather as much information as we can about that individual so that we can take a holistic approach to providing our recommendations and resources for that individual. So we're looking at things such as where the person is location-wise and geographic-wise for an individual that needs help. What type of help do they need help with? Whether that's just somebody standing outside the bathroom taking a shower, or if they need physical assistance getting from a chair into the shower and physical assistance taking a shower, as an example. And then also we talk about finances as well, because the way the state of Pennsylvania is set up, with all assisted livings being privately paid for, and there's no Medicaid option for assisted livings in Pennsylvania. So we want to make sure we have a really in-depth understanding of the financial background as well. And then from there, once we have the initial conversations and we decide to consider senior communities, the families will get an email from myself with a list of community options, and the communities actually get an email as well with the family's name that lets the community know that we're working together with the family in partnerships with them. So the families will then, I will work with the families and we'll schedule a time to go on a family tour, and I will go on all of the tours with the families, and we're looking at the senior communities. And then from there, just continue a dialogue with the families about what their thoughts were, what additional questions they had, what did they like, what did they not like about those communities, and just helping them work through all those things to make the best educated decision for their loved one.
Interesting. So the question we get a lot of times is, when does someone start to do this? How soon should we be having these conversations? I think you've told me in the past that unfortunately you end up having to deal with the children a lot, not the people
Right.
themselves. So,
Yep.
so obviously trying to get in early enough that mom or dad, can actually help make decisions would be helpful, wouldn't it?
Yep, absolutely. No, as soon as possible. I mean, we all age, and over time, we're all going to continue to age and have age-related concerns and things that we're going to need help with over time. So having that conversation much sooner than later is much more beneficial because we can have the conversation in a relaxed environment around the dinner table, in the living room, where we can just be not under a crunch or under a crisis situation, and we can just have open conversations and we can talk about wants and desires as opposed to what's available and what the options are as far as availability. So when we have families in a crisis moment, we're talking more about places that have available bed space and space for care as opposed to what the person actually prefers in a senior living environment. So always having a plan B is always a good option. Again, my services are free, so just having an hour conversation with myself just costs you a little bit of your time and getting some education.
I think what you said there was huge for people to really think about, having a plan of where you may want to go versus a last minute, just here's what's available, good luck kind of thing. Um,
Right.
it's not knowing where you're going to end up. At least, as you said, if you've got a bit of a plan, you can sort of tour these places, know what you're getting yourself into versus just ending up with whatever bed happens to be available.
Yeah, I just toured a gal a couple of weeks ago. Her mom is along her dementia journey, and she's currently okay with her mom at her house right now, but it's going to come to a point that it's going to need a different environment, and she doesn't know when that time is yet. But we went and looked at a couple of environments. She has her mind set on when that time comes, which place she's going to go with. She has an idea of the cost. She has an idea of how the admission process works so that when that time comes and it gets to the point where she's like, I can't do this anymore, she knows and she's not stressing out about what the next steps look like because she's seen that and she has an idea of what that looks like for when her mom needs that care.
Yeah, and I've got to think that takes a lot of stress off of the family, having these things again planned out, knowing what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Good. Well, that's great information. You know, just for those of you watching to know, we've actually had several clients work with Ben and so continue to have great response from those clients as to how helpful he is and the information. I know just the information you've provided me over time, just asking you random questions is always great. So as Ben said, taking that hour out of your life to learn and become educated, it's well worth it. So at the end of each one of these conversations, we like to do something a little fun, little silly. So this month, everybody is so it's April, and April apparently is National BLT Sandwich Month. Who knew? Apparently Danielle did because she created this. So the $1 million question for Ben is, what's your favorite sandwich?
I think I'm gonna have to go with a nice French dip. I like to be able to put that French dip with a lot of cheese. I like extra cheese on it. Be able to dip it in that au jus sauce and get a really juicy, cheesy sandwich full of meat and gravy.
Very nice. So I remember asking somebody this and them saying a hot dog and going into the entire, is a hot dog a sandwich thing. So we're not going there this time. So
Right.
from my standpoint, I being a true Pittsburgher, I think I will throw out the Permane sandwich because I do enjoy me a good Permane. It's not all that often, maybe once or twice a year, but
Right.
I do enjoy going there and getting the sandwich and putting the hot sauce on it and then having to go walk like 12 miles to get all those calories off. But I think
Absolutely.
it's worth it. So. Well, again, Ben, thank you so much for being here. Folks, you can see here on the slide Ben's information, how you can contact him. Always, as you know, with any of the resources we work with, feel free to call the office here and we're happy to connect you or even schedule for you. So, If you have started thinking about these things, if you've talked to mom and dad about these things, or even yourself, if you're thinking about what this might look like for you, it's a good opportunity to spend a little time learning, getting educated. And as I said, Ben does a great job of doing that. So thank you again, Ben. We truly appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you having me on, and great to work together.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we will see you soon.